This Todd-versation is brought to you in part by Splendid by Porvenir, with promotional consideration from Volcano Produce.
Hey, hi, ho, everybody. How you doing today? I hope everybody's having a killer day. You know, I say this every time I start these shows. I wake up every day, and my gratitude I throw out to the world is I hope everybody has a good day. I figure if everybody has a good day simultaneously on this planet, who the hell knows what good could come from that? I'm all about seeing that happen. So with that positivity, we have got a show for you today. I have got a guest that's joining us that is truly an honor for me to have here. I am so excited to have him. I have been a fan of his and his family and what they've been doing for a long time. This gentleman leads with integrity and character every single day, which we're going to talk about and why that matters in business and why it should matter to you in your life in so many different aspects. So please, everybody, stop, pull over, get off the treadmill, get out from underneath your desk, hiding from your boss, stand up, clap a little bit. Let's put it together for the CEO and president of Shuman Farms. Please, everybody, welcome my friend, John Shuman. Sir, it is an honor to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much, Todd. It's look forward to it.
Absolutely. I told you it'd be a hell of an introduction. I told you that's what the moneymaker is, right?
It is. You're getting bonus points for that.
I'm telling you right now. I mean, I get fired up for these shows like a little honey badger on Mountain Dew. I really do. I get fired up to talk about people and about good things and about topics that matter and with people that matter that are making a difference. And sir, quite frankly, you are one of those people out there making a difference. I can't wait to get into it today. So with that being said, like I do with all my guests, I don't read people's bios and CVs and stuff because I just don't think it's better coming from your heart. If you wouldn't mind, just quickly say whatever the hell you want to say, and we'll get rocking and rolling and get this bad boy moving.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the opportunity. You know, we enjoy talking about sweet onions and just whatever else goes along with that. So we're looking forward to that. You know, a little bit about me, born and raised in Southeast Georgia in the produce industry, particularly the Vidalia sweet onion industry. So just been around it my whole life and came home from college, had a rough start and finally made my way in the industry, starting out from scratch. And so here we are today, very blessed. We focus on sweet onions. That's what we do, and that's who we are.
Well, you're a lot more than that. You've got a lot more going on. Onions are a conduit to who you are, but you're far greater than that. Talk a little bit. Let's get into it a little bit and frame up the history with everybody if you can. Talk a little bit about you guys have been farming a while. You've been in the Southeast your whole career, which has been an interesting place to look at agricultural history for sure. I always say to people, if you really want to have a great meal with the farmer, sit across the table from his farmer down in the Southeast and talk about farming, because you all have such a rich history and go through so much more than a lot of people do when it comes to climate and weather and conditions and this and that. It's just, and there's such a great demeanor and nature about farmers in the Southeast that it's just unlike anywhere else. It's really cool to hang out with. But you guys built a really cool company and you went through it in a kind of a unique way. Your family history is really unique when it comes to that. Check with me a little bit about building the business where you are today and a little bit about your family's farming journey, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. So my dad, Buck Shuman, we call him Smiling Buck. You know, the family nicknamed him that years ago. He's been through so much. And as a young kid, watching my dad in and around farming, he owned Shuman Fertilizer, farm supply dealerships in a couple of counties around, the county we live in and the county next door. He had 4 retail stores. And so, had crop duster airplanes, had spreader trucks. He sold farmers all of their inputs and sold them on credit. And that's kind of through the farm crisis of the 1980s, what took him down. He was able to hold on to Shuman Farms. He was row cropping. He was planting Vidalia onions and some other vegetables. But in the early 90s, that kind of went too. Just had some really tough times from the early 80s to the early 90s. He was able to hold on for about 10 years. And so that was about the time I got out of college and came home. Me and my 2 brothers and my sister. Of course, she was already out of college, but and I wanted to go into the business. And Dad said, look, I just shut down. I just liquidated. I'm 64 years old. I'm looking for another career myself. Not sure how I can help you, but I can introduce you to some people that maybe can get you started. And that's kind of how I backed into the industry. He introduced me to some growers in the Vidalia industry, and I started selling onions for them. That's kind of how I backed into it. And just over the years, we have been very blessed to vertically integrate back into farming, kind of getting back to our roots and kind of what we came from. But, watching your dad go through that, lose everything he worked for 40 something years. And along that time, just a couple of years later, my mom passed away. They'd been married for 35 years. And, that's just kind of watching him. You're very observant as a child. Parents can tell their kids a lot of things, but what they do impacts them far more than anything they'll ever tell them. And I just kind of watched my dad walk through those experiences and how he persevered. And it really made an impact on me and encouraged me to, kind of climb the mountain in front of me, because I was starting from scratch. Went down to the local bank, tried to borrow $15,000. The banker turned me down. I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Well, you need some collateral." I said, "Well, hey man, my dad just went out of business and I'm fresh out of college. I have no collateral." "What are you talking about?"
Did you offer up like a kidney or something?
Yeah, I mean, what do you want? So I went back home. I told my dad. He said, there's nothing I can do. I mean, I can't help you from the collateral standpoint, but maybe you go across the street and ask your grandmother if she'd co-sign the note for you. And that's what I did. Walked across the street, told my grandmother what I wanted to do, what I had in mind. She looked at me, said she'd be willing to help me. So that got me started.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. It's amazing where our lift up comes from, right? And I bet, and she probably looked at you and how'd you feel walking in there? Were you nervous? Were you like, it's grandma, she got my back. I mean, that had to be a little bit, because you're still young, green a little bit around those ears. That's the first time you walked into a situation, I imagine, like that.
Yeah, I'm fresh out of college. Don't have a lot of options, born and raised in Southeast Georgia, been in and around farming my whole life, really not skilled at a lot of anything else, and it's really what I wanted to do. My two brothers went off into the insurance industry and started selling insurance. And I just told my dad, I want to stay in it. I'm not sure what that looks like. I'm not sure what that journey is going to, how we're going to get there and unpack that suitcase. But this is what I want to do. I was hungry, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I had a desire that I could, and a belief that I could do this. And I always tell people around me, and I tell my kids, listen, when you have a dream, the first person you have to convince is yourself.
100%.
You have to buy in and you have to go all in. And I'll tell you, man, getting started those first few years, it was tough selling Vidalia onions in the mid 1990s. That was at the peak of an industry that was growing leaps and bounds. I mean, if you had a pulse and you were in that industry, you walk into the bank and they would loan you money to build cold storage and CA facilities and buy new graders. And it was doing well. And that was when the industry was really growing. And soon in the mid 90s, the industry sort of hit maturation and then saturation. And you go through the industry cycles and then it starts weeding itself out. So,
yeah, no doubt.
It's been quite a journey. It's been a lot of fun. Those first few years, I was so much in doubt that it was going to work. I was so concerned that I could make it work with just the size of the mountain standing in front of me. I started taking real estate classes at night. I'd get in the car after work and drive 45 minutes to a VOTEC school and started taking real estate. That was plan B. That was the parachute. So if I had to bail on my dream, I was going to try to get into the real estate industry and be a real estate agent.
Well, now look at you. Now you just got farmland. Now you are a real estate agent. You just got farmland. Talk to me, because you went through that experience with your dad, and there had to be some interesting conversations, to say the least. What's some of the best advice your dad gave you, you think?
He just lead by example. I think it's one of the things that sticks out to me. And like I said, watching him go through some very good times in the 70s. I always tell people we were Reidsville rich in the 1970s when I was a kid. I was born in 1969. So, in a small town of 1,500 people, Southeast Georgia, rural farm community. I mean, we were doing well. And, to watch him kind of go through all that and lose all that and everything just turn upside down for him. And here he is, 64 years old and looking for a new job himself. And a couple of years later, losing his wife of 35 years and our mother. And it was tough. And I watched how he persevered through that. And that's where we nicknamed him Smiling Buck, because you just couldn't sneak up on him without a smile on his face. I mean, he just had a positive even through everything he'd been through, he could find that nugget to hold on to and to get him through. And I think just the way he led by example really landed on me. And it's what I said earlier, your parents can tell you a lot of stuff, but they're going to pay more. Kids are going to watch what you do more than anything else. And
100%.
And I think that's the lesson I learned from my dad, was just perseverance.
It's look, that's a great lesson, and it's a hard one to learn. To your point, you talk about starting your own business, the fear factor, the unknown, right? Because we're on a path. We don't know where that path goes. We get choices to make right turns or left turns, or go up a hill or go down a hill, but we don't know what's on the other side of that path, right? We just have to go in. We have to persevere. We have to believe in ourselves, and we have to continue to walk. And that's a hard lesson for people to get. And I believe it's a harder lesson for some of this next generation, these kids coming up, to even conceive of, because they're get such self-gratification so quickly through social media and some of these other things. They haven't bumped their heads enough time to realize what perseverance actually means in a lot of ways. So I can see where that would be a hell of a lesson.
Thanks for joining the Todd-versation. And now, a word from our sponsor. Splendid by Porvenir has long been recognized in the fruit and vegetable industry for its quality, volume, availability, and timely distribution. Did we mention that we have the best mangoes on the planet? Our decades of experience in providing a wide range of superior products throughout the year gives our customers and retailers alike confidence in Splendid products to deliver excellence 100% of the time. When only the best should be on your table, trust Splendid's commitment to exceeding your expectations. We are the best because we do it right.
Yeah, no, that's what I tell my kids. You got to chop wood, man, when nobody's looking. You got to work, put your head down and put your time in when nobody's paying attention, nobody's patting you on the back, nobody's saying attaboy. You just gotta grind it. You gotta go. And the fruit may be down the road. You don't have that. It may not be instant gratification. It may be years before you see a return on it. So.
But I think that grind that comes from inside you, that passion that comes from inside of you, is hard to harness, man. And I think when you have passion like that, boy, it certainly fuels the fire, and it certainly makes that path. I think maybe with that passion too, you're not as afraid to go down the path. You got a lot of uncertainty, right, that you guys have faced, but somebody's got to kick in the door. Somebody's got to have that, that ninja belt on, that Spider-Man belt, to be able to fight the superheroes that are coming at him, right? I mean, it's really important. It's a hard lesson.
No, it is. It is. It's a tough lesson. And it's not fun either. It's not fun when you're walking through that period in your life and going through that stage. And we all go through it. Listen, everybody's got a story. Everybody's climbed their own mountains and persevered through situations. But I think what I saw my dad do is just he kept getting up. He just kept getting up and going. And that's the biggest thing for anybody. I would say, trying to achieve any goal they may have is, not a lot of people want to see you succeed. Some do, but some don't. And I early on in my career, like the first year of my career, I had an onion grower here tell me I couldn't do it. It's not going to work. Just customers are all taken. Industry's too crowded. He just didn't see how it's going to work. And I actually went home and told my dad that, and he just said, "Son, you shake that man's hand, smile at him next time you see him, but don't ever listen to him again." No, don't listen to that.
I love focused. It. Yeah, 100%. Well, what's happening with the next generation? I mean, you've got kids. Is the next generation coming?
Yeah, they are. And I've got two boys.
That's exciting.
Yeah, my bouncing baby boys. I still have pictures around my office of when they were young, and now my oldest son, Luke, is 22. He's a senior at the University of Georgia in the College of Ag.
Another Bulldog?
Yeah, go Dogs. Just two-peat, man. Took it twice, back to back.
Here's the first Bulldog reference we're going to get into. We'll have more, I'm sure. They're coming. I can't.
We're coming.
I told you.
Listen,
go ahead.
It's been a long time. We've been able to stand on the fence and crow, man. So give us a little bit.
Hey, I tell you, I say it all the time. The SEC is tough to look away from. You guys can't go back to back. That's a big statement in today's college football. I still lean into my Pac-12 roots, so I got to go with that. But I could root for you. Listen, I'm certainly going to root for you a hell of a lot louder. I'm going to root for them folks in Bama. You can guarantee me that, and I don't care who sends me hate mail over that.
Yeah, no, it's right. Listen, we have a unique relationship with Alabama, so being in the SEC and being a Georgia Bulldog fan. So no, they've done a lot of good. They deserve everything they've
what was
gotten.
the story about Alabama? I was told that what do you get when you drive slow through the campus there at the University of Alabama? You get a degree when you get out the other side.
Probably get a degree, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So the boys are coming. So the kids are excited about the business. They're excited about coming in.
Yeah,
I would
so
imagine.
yeah, he is really excited because it's right in front of him, right? He's going to be graduating in December, and he's supposed to have graduated in May, and he came to us about it 6 months ago and said he'd like to go an extra semester, and we asked him if it had anything to do with football, and he just smiled. But no, he's going to be coming out with a degree in agribusiness with 2 minors, and looking forward to getting him. He's excited. You know, and I told him, I said, look, man, you got to have a case of the wants. You need to come in hungry and eager to learn.
Yeah.
And I think the older he gets, you know, I think it was Mark Twain that said, I think I'm right when I say this, when he was a young boy, he left home, his dad was probably the dumbest man he ever knew. And when he came back 6 or 8 years later, he was astonished at how much his father had learned. And, you know, it's as kids get older, they realize that their parents are a lot smarter than they thought they were when they were teenagers. And I think Luke is in that stage in his life where he's starting to stand up and pay attention and realize what's going on. And he's looking forward to coming in. And then my youngest son, Jake, he's 2 years behind Luke. He's at Georgia Southern, where I went to school and graduated. He's going to get a business degree in marketing. And, you know, he's looking forward to it as well. So we're excited.
I love it. You got to be.
Excited.
You got to be. That's. Now, there's a part of the path you didn't see coming, but that's certainly a nice reward on the path.
It is a nice reward, and we are very blessed to have this opportunity. And you know, we're going to start them. We're going to start them
ditch digging
at the bare basics, man.
Damn right. 4:30.
Yeah, there's no freebies in life. We don't have any immunity necklaces we're passing out. You're going to start, and you're going to work, and I tell people, this is a tough business. You know this. You're in the produce industry. You interview a lot of people, and this is what we do, right? And this is a tough business. Because at the end of the day, you're growing and managing and selling and distributing a product that you don't have control of. The only thing you can do is manage it to the best of your abilities, and that's it. That
100%.
That's out of your hands. And so it's a stressful business. It never sleeps, and you can't get away from it. And I tell folks, you know, that come into the business and that we hire, and you know, I can't protect you from it. You know, you're going to like it or you're not. There's nothing I can do to change your opinion about that. But if you like it and you get bitten by that bug, you're in it, and you're going to be a lifer. And it's going to be tough. But the only way to swim is to get thrown in the pool, man. And I'm gonna throw you in the deep end of the pool. You know, we can talk about skydiving all day long, but until you jump out of the plane, you're not going to learn how to do it. So
he's a bulldog. He can dog paddle. He can dog paddle. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he will. He will.
He'll dog paddle. So let's talk a little bit, you know, about the Vidalia onion if we can, because I think this is such a cool history. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize that how it came about. And if you wouldn't mind touching on that just a little bit about how the counties were created and what you all come up with, and then talk a little bit about how it's been received, because it's, when you take a look at the stats on this onion, what it's done, it's incredibly popular. It's something that's a big deal to a lot of people. It's kind of like the Chick-fil-A of onions. It's got a cult following, you know. And if you wouldn't mind, just give everybody a little bit of a history on it from your perspective, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, I do. And I tell you, we're first of all very blessed to be in an area that we have the Vidalia sweet onion. It is an economic driver in our communities, and just what a true blessing to have this onion. You know, happy accident in the 1930s and 40s during the Great Depression. Farmers in the area were looking for a new cash crop. They started growing onions. Much to their surprise, they came out sweet. And over the next 30 to 40 years, an industry was born. And in the 1980s is when it really kind of got pushed into the national scene. Piggly Wiggly had a distribution center in the city of Vidalia, where the onion got its name, started distributing it in all of its stores, and the growers quickly outgrew Piggly Wiggly's ability to handle the onion and buy all that was produced. So the trademark, actually Piggly Wiggly trademarked the Vidalia name in the beginning. And the growers went to the industry went to Piggly Wiggly and said, look, we're outproducing your ability to buy our production. So would you consider giving this trademark to the state of Georgia? And they did. And so the industry sort of took off from there. I think Kroger was the first retailer to put it out nationally, and it just took off and went. I think in 1989, a federal marketing order was established to protect the Vidalia trademark and to protect and to establish a 20 county production area in Southeast Georgia. It's 13 full counties and parts of 7 others. The only place you can grow it, only place it's produced. And that's it. I mean, when I got started, there were over 300 and something registered growers. We all have to register with the Georgia Department of Ag. The Georgia Commissioner of Ag regulates the industry and monitors the industry, make sure we're all in check. So we have to apply for a registration to use the trademark from the state of Georgia, and we have to apply for a registration to grow and pack to be a registered grower in the industry. And like I said, when I got started, there were 325 or more registered growers in the industry, and today they're just over 60. Wow. And even some of those are duplicates. Like we register as more than one grower. So if you really pile in, which I did last year, and you really dig into the numbers and look at who's registering more than one entity, like if you take the 2 or 3 that we're registered as and count us as one, which is what we are, there's probably 35 growers, independent growers in the industry. So it's like most industries, it has consolidated. It's gotten into fewer hands, handling more volume. But right. It's kind of followed the path of retail, right? So 30 years ago, you had a whole bunch of retailers fragmented, and you had, let's just say you had 100 onion buyers. And I'm sure that number is a lot more, but today you may have 25. Let's just say. So, and they don't want to deal with 10 or 12 suppliers, right? They want to deal with 1 or 2 or 3 that can handle their needs on a year-round basis. So that's kind of how the sweet onion industry has evolved, like most industries.
Well, and that's a real telltale sign where retail's heading with this consolidation. Because retail's consolidating now, and it's going to continue to streamline down as well as agriculture. And it's going to be a unique time, I believe, in the next 5 years for the small to medium-sized farmers in this country. I think it's going to be a very unique time. I think it's going to be a real challenge in a lot of ways to survive. I think that just the way things are going, I think it's going to be an interesting change ahead of us. And so it's going to be curious. And that's kind of leads me to my next question I want to throw at you, because, farming in a lot of ways, and we've talked about this a little bit, you kind of referenced it with growing up, how you have in your community. Farming is more than just growing a crop, right? It is community. It's your dad, your dad. There's one of your dads in a lot of farming communities around this country today. It's culture that evolves. It's family first, really in a big way. Family's a big part of it. And quite frankly, agriculture is the backbone of this country. So I'm going to throw a big high vault question at you for this one, but tell me a little bit, share what farming, means to you, now that you've come down this path.
Man, that's a big question.
I told you it's a biggie.
No, it is. And it's a great question. When stewardship, I think, is what farming is. I mean, we're managing somebody else's resources. We own the land, we own the pivots, we have access to the water, we own the crop, we pack it, grow it, ship it. But it's everything belongs to the Lord, right? I mean, it's his crop. We manage it to the best of our ability. We're managing it. Stewardship, the very definition of being a good steward is just managing other people's resources. So, we want to manage what's here. We want to make it better for the next generation, for my children coming in, to have an opportunity to continue to grow this industry and to stay connected to the land. I think that's what farming is to me, is just that connection to the land. And it's not so much what we do for a living, it's who we are, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
100%.
You hear it all the time. It kind of gets in your blood, and it's sort of a figure of speech, but it really does. I mean, it really becomes who you are and how you wake up every day. And we have a passion for it in the Vidalia onion industry. That's a very unique, special product to a lot of people. And, we're part of it, and we want to do it right. And we want to deliver a good product. And there's a lot of challenges out there to farmers, particularly family farmers. Some of the challenges I think all businesses face, but particularly the small to mid-sized farmers, is capital, right? I mean, just population is growing, increasing food demand comes right behind it. How do we continue to invest in land and resources? We're in competition, right?
Yeah.
for land and resources. And we need to be empowered. We need to be empowered to meet these challenges. And I think, we all get paid by the consumer. Every
Yeah.
retailer in America receives their check from the consumer, and every grower in America receives their proceeds from the consumer through the retailer. So,
Yeah.
we just, as far as the partnerships go with our customers, we need to empower each other to succeed, because we do have a growing population. There is an increase in food demand. We saw it in the pandemic, how critical it can be and how easily that supply chain can get broken. And so you want a healthy grower, you want a financially healthy grower, you want him able to invest in infrastructure, invest in land and water and resources. And you want to empower him to be successful so that he can help, kind of help me help you, so to speak. It's that sustainability at its best, right? If you look at Southeast Georgia, like a lot of parts of the country, I'm sure, but Southeast Georgia, man, is this I-95 corridor that runs north of Brunswick, Georgia, into Savannah, Georgia. It's growing leaps and bounds. I mean, it is almost off the chains at how fast it's growing. And Bryan County is just 30 to 45 minutes to the east of us, and it's one of the fastest growing counties in the nation.
Yeah.
Hey, and with that's coming people.
Yeah.
Subdivisions, development, warehouses, new businesses, and they're pushing into farm country.
Yeah.
And once that farmland gets developed, it ain't coming back.
No, sir.
So, that's what we're seeing. That's the visibility we have. It's just got to be very intentional about how we approach these opportunities, and hopefully are going to be empowered to go take advantage and to be proactive.
Yeah, you make a really great point. I want to come back around on something. I say this to people, you go walking in the forest, you walk with Mother Nature. You put a seed in the ground, you work with Mother Nature, and there's a difference. And it's a huge responsibility to work. Don't be her. I tell people all the time, don't be her. When we start to act like we start to be her, we get into trouble. But when we work with her and figure that out, boy, magic can come from that. And I think it's important that we remember that. I think it's powerful, because it's food security is such a big topic that we don't talk enough about, but it's one that we need to be really cognizant about. To your point, as we grow, how do we grow? How do we protect that infrastructure? Yeah, that's powerful. Well said, sir. I appreciate that. I want to talk a little bit about the pillars, if we can, of Shuman Farms. And I love this. And I've had the good fortune of working with part of your team over in the Healthy Family Project with Amanda and stuff. And I don't need to go on for 10 minutes about how great I think she is and work that you're doing there.
Great. But it's a great team.
It is. And I'm going to get you a little bit more about that here in a sec. But I want to talk a little bit about the pillars of Shuman, if we could. It's to serve, sustain, innovate, and give back. Can you touch a little bit about what that means and why that's valuable, and share with folks where that comes from?
Yeah, over the past 20, 25 years, early in my career, we had to decide who we are and how we're going to market. What do we stand for? What are we getting up every day to strive to? We're not perfect at these things, but we get up every day and we work to achieve these things, and we strive toward them. And to serve is if you ask me what Shuman Farms does or who Shuman Farms is, I will tell you we are a customer service company. Yeah. That is what we do. We are a service first company, because without our customers, there's no business. So we have to stay laser focused on what's important now. We gotta stay focused on what's important. So we're here to serve our customers. We're here to be an extension of their business. And what we want to do is how can we help them succeed with our retail partners? And if our retail partners are healthy, they're doing great and they're growing, I look at them as a tree, and we are a fruit hanging on that tree. If that tree is healthy, it stands to reason we're going to be healthy as well. So I think to serve and customer service is the biggest part of that. Sustain and sustainability, I think that's the hottest buzzwords in produce right now, and it's here to stay. It's critically important to every aspect of our business, and it touches our human resources, our farms, our products, our planet, our communities, everything. And we talked about it earlier about being a good steward of the resources we've been blessed with. And so how do we continue to use and manage these resources so that they continue to provide for the next generation to come? We just don't want to consume them, right? We don't want to use them up. We want to manage them and make them better and for the next generation. So, and then innovate, part of that is innovative marketing. We learned early on for us, we want to help our customers sell our product. How do we do that? And we think innovative marketing is a key component of that. We want to go around to the consumer and create consumer demand, get the consumer excited about Vidalia onions, introduce them to Shuman Farms. We think especially now, consumers want to be connected more than anything. I know locally grown will always be an important aspect of what we do in produce, but locale to me is just as important, if not more. And that is just telling the consumer, connecting them to the product, teaching them how to use it, consumer education, and then connecting them to the farm and the people behind that product. And I think I think they're hungry for that information.
100%. Yeah, people want to know where their food comes from. It's important that we tell them.
Yeah, we do. And hey, if we're not telling them, who's telling them? So we want to drive the bus on that and sort of drive that narrative and educate consumers. And particularly, let's just take Vidalia onions for example. We need to empower and to educate the next generation because our generation in the Vidalia onion industry is an older demographic. So we've got to get into and train and teach and educate the next generation of consumer. And I think a lot of produce items are like that. So that's important to us. And then, giving back, that's one of our foundational pillars, something very near and dear to my heart, something that, I started thinking about over 20 years ago. Luke, when he was a bouncing baby boy, just 3 months old, got sick with RSV, which is a really common childhood respiratory virus, right?
Right. Yeah.
The younger they are, the longer they have it, the more serious it can be. So they put him in a children's hospital down in Savannah, Georgia, to run some tests, to monitor him overnight for a couple of days. And so my wife and I were down there, and we got introduced to Children's Miracle Network for the first time. And so we kind of came back from that experience, and I just kind of dived in and looked at that and just wanted to see, as much as they helped us, as much as they helped our son Luke, I wanted to see, golly, there's got to be a way to support these people. There's got to be a way we can give back and to support them. So that's kind of how our Giving Back initiative got started. And it's one of our 4 pillars and something very near and dear to us.
Well, talk to me a little bit too, and how your faith has influenced your commitment to giving back through your business. Because that's powerful.
It is. I mean, it's so powerful. You got to put your faith in something, right? My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and my faith is in him, and he is eternal. And, he's driving the bus. He's blessed me in more ways. He's overrun my cup, and no way for me to ever say enough thank yous to him for all the blessings he's poured out on me. And, I don't know. I think it does drive our passion to give back because we've been blessed with so many resources. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just think it's our responsibility to give back and to serve and to lift up the communities that support our products. And I think that's what is at the heart of our giving back and what drives that.
You think now that, serving others matters, more now than it ever did before in today's world?
I think it does. I do. I think people are starting to see that, we're going to do a lot better helping each other, right? I mean, we can go a lot further down the road than we ever will by ourselves and living in a silo. So I think just serving your community, supporting those in need, and we need to come at it from the approach, it's not a handout, right? It's a
hand up.
It's a hand up and a helping hand in a time of need. I can tell you, I had some people help me along the way through some very difficult times, and probably wouldn't be here today if it weren't for that.
Yep.
And so I think everybody goes through periods in their life where they need support, they need the community around them, they need help, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be to put your head down over. I think we've all walked through periods in our life where we just needed encouragement, and that's what I think it's about.
I do too. Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that one of the things that I have taken away from this broadcast and the things that we do outside of what this broadcast is that people that need help oftentimes don't ask for help because they're embarrassed. They're afraid. They feel like failures. They feel like they're letting their family. I mean, all these factors come into play. And I think that I asked this next question. I've asked this question of other guests, including Amanda, and I'm going to continue to ask this question because I think the answer is really, really powerful. Is why is it important to remember that we need to be providing dignity to those that need help and that need support and uplifting?
Well, first of all, these are human beings, and all men are created equal and in the eyes of the Lord. So, first of all, these are members of our community, and these are people, and they have feelings. And look, this is what I look around this country and I see such prosperity. And then, it's almost hard to believe that there's so much need. There's such a disparity. Yeah. And so I don't know. I feel that desire to help. And like you said, just in a dignified way, and to lift up and to encourage and teach and almost, self-respect. How are you ever going to lift up and go forward if you can't move in a way that you have self-respect? That's a tough place to be when you lose that and you lose your self-confidence. And I think that's part of that giving back initiative is just rebuilding the soul, right? Rebuilding the spirit, rebuilding, building back up something that has been broken down.
Beautifully said. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. I mean, I just think it's important that people recognize that, you can make eye contact with somebody with a sign at the street corner and say hello to them. You don't, maybe you don't have $1, maybe you don't, but a hello, tell them you love them, tell them you're thinking of them, wishing them a good day. A little bit of self-esteem and a little bit of love goes a long way. And I'm a big believer that if we lead with love, so many positive things can happen for our country and for our communities and for our health and for all kinds of things. And I just don't think we do enough of that. And I'm certainly encourage that every day, which is why I open up my show saying, my gratitude for everybody is I hope you're having a great day today. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart, because I think it's so important. We need to be lifting each other up. And you don't know the path that somebody's on. You can see somebody in a suit and tie with doesn't have 2 pennies in his pocket. Right. Yeah. And I just think it's important that we continue to do that. So I appreciate very much your open and honest answer to that. I know it's sometimes can be uncomfortable for people to go down the trail and talk about stuff like that, but I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, you bet.
So, and now it teased me up though, for what I got to ask next. And let's talk about the Healthy Family Project, because I am such a huge fan of what you all are doing. I've had Amanda a couple of times on the broadcast. We throw as much love at her and what you all are doing as we can. So talk a little bit about that, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I know Amanda and Trish and the entire team, they just do an amazing job. What a passion it is, and a blessing it is just to work around good people like that who can encourage you. And we've got a good group here at Shuman Farms too, and we kind of iron sharpens iron. Some days you're just not having a good day, and you come to work and get lifted up by one of your brothers or sisters that is having a good day. So you just be reciprocal with that. But no, Healthy Family Project, like I said, started over 20 years ago. My son Luke was kind of the inspiration behind that experience in the Children's Hospital. And that was our first benefit, the first charitable outreach organization we benefited was Children's Medical Network Hospitals. We worked through various retailers to do that. It just kind of grew from there, and just our two missions is to educate kids and parents and educate people on the benefits of eating healthy fruits and vegetables, and then to raise money for worthwhile charitable organizations in our retailers market. So, that's what we get up and go to work every day to do at Healthy Family Project. And listen, couldn't do what we do without the wonderful support of the produce industry, the growers, the shippers, the sponsors, and our retail partners. And we have a reception at Southeast Produce Council every year in honor of our partners, just to say thank you for everything that you do, because everything Healthy Family Project does is accomplished through and by their support. So having said all that, I think this is sustainability at its best. Is our first mission, right? To educate kids and parents on the benefits of fruits and vegetables. I mean, we are standing on the right side of the issue. We just don't have the money that the center of the store has, right? The produce industry just doesn't have the dollars that the center of the store has, but it doesn't take away the fact, doesn't change the reality that we're on the right side of the issue. Yeah. And so I don't ever like for anybody to say, well, it's not worth throwing that pebble in the pond because the ripple effect's not going to be that big. And I just don't buy into that. whatever kind of impact we're making is an impact on somebody's life. And that's however big it is. To some people, it may be a lot. To others, it may be not a lot. But, we're using the resources we have to get up, build up, and promote fresh fruits and vegetables and to raise money for charities. Right now, particularly Feeding America, which is our leading charitable outreach at Healthy Family Project.
Right.
And, that is a wonderful organization of food banks across America. And like we said earlier, just so much prosperity in America. And then you look at Feeding America and you realize the work that they're doing, and you realize that 30 to 35 million people in America have food insecurity at some point during the year. And, 9 or 10 million of them are children. And it's really hard to get your head around.
It is.
I don't know. I think as a food producer in America, it's our responsibility to give back into this and to support food insecurity. And so we put all our efforts here at Shuman Farms and particularly at Healthy Family Project into supporting Feeding America and those related food banks. And we don't do it just with dollars either. We're doing it or with meals. We donate meals, we donate dollars. But more importantly, we get connected by donating our time. So when we go to various markets and various cities, like when we were down at Southeast Produce Council recently in Orlando, we came in a day early, went to the food bank in Orlando, volunteered for the day, made meals, loaded pallets. You want team building, you want inspiration, you want to see real world. Volunteer your time at a food bank or any charitable outreach organization. Just wake up one day and go volunteer your time, and it will connect you to reality and what's going on in the world around you and how much need there is. And I hope it'll inspire you, because it certainly inspires us.
Thanks for joining the Todd-versation. And now, a word from our sponsor. Splendid by Porvenir has long been recognized in the fruit and vegetable industry for its quality, volume, availability, and timely distribution. Did we mention that we have the best mangoes on the planet? Our decades of experience in providing a wide range of superior products throughout the year gives our customers and retailers alike confidence in Splendid products to deliver excellence 100% of the time. When only the best should be on your table, trust Splendid's commitment to exceeding your expectations. We are the best because we do it right.
100%. And, I think sometimes people get into charitable giving thinking, well, I want to go help a whole lot of people. And I think that we need to start from, if I help one person, that means that one person has an opportunity to help another person. And that domino effect, again, spread love, start with love, spread love forward, right? I think it's incredibly powerful. And you're right. Serving others, again, is something that is so gratifying, and it's so important that we do. And we need it more now than we ever have before, in my opinion. When you think about this country, you talk about food security, which kind of lead me into where I want to head next in the question, but I want to throw this out there. I was working on something. I came across some stats. 21 or 22% of the product in our landfills in this country is food waste. Mm-hmm. Food waste in this country is the equivalent of every American throwing away 650 apples a piece just in the garbage. And you start to hear those things and you start to worry, you start to think about people that aren't getting food in the food deserts and all these other things. It's overwhelming to think about that we're such a rich country with such a great history, with so many great things that are about us, yet we got some really scuffed up knees and some busted elbows in places we shouldn't have. And I think this is one of those areas. So I encourage everybody to get online to Healthy Family Project, see how you can be a part of it, see what they're doing. Get inspired, take that inspiration in your own community, start with, helping one family and then take it to two and let that two family help you find four and continue to build. Because again, I think when we lead with love, we're going to be a much better place to be, than we're heading today in a lot of ways.
Amen, brother. Well, I mean, perfectly said. And it all starts in the home. And then it starts, and then it moves out into the community, and then it moves out broader than that. But to your point, you have to start with one, and don't ever think that you're not making a difference, because if you help just one person, you've made a huge difference in their life. And to your point, who knows what they're going to go on and do.
Correct.
Now that they've been empowered and helped. So
I really believe it. I say it all the time, and I'm saying it more and more. I just lead with love, man. Just start every day, lead with love, and you'll be surprised. And it's not a scary word. It's not a bad word. It's not pointing, defining it. Just lead with love. Come from your heart. Do something good. Inspire somebody every day by your intentions and what you do. I'm telling you, it's so powerful. And if we all get behind it, who knows? Maybe, maybe, who knows what the good things can come from that. I'd be willing to try. I'll sign up. I'll be a line leader. I'll be a course leader, whatever it takes.
Yeah, no, and that word love, man, that's a powerful word, and it's one of the most abused words in the world. We have perverted that word beyond recognition, and it's not sweaty palms and a quick heartbeat, man. It is a choice. Love is a choice, and it is to serve others in their best interest at your own personal sacrifice. And that, I mean, I think that's one of the truest definitions I've ever heard somebody say about love, is just helping someone, serving someone at a cost to yourself. But yeah, that's what if we all had a servant's heart, what a world it would be.
It's worth it. Let's keep trying. I mean, like I said, just keep starting. Let's lead with love.
These comments are not going out. These are reflecting back. I'm looking in the mirror when I say these things, because it's a challenge for me every day. Are we 100%. Doing enough? Are we doing what we should be doing? Are we practicing what we preach? And I tell folks around me, and I tell my kids too, leave nothing on the field. I mean, you not to use a football analogy, but
another Bulldog, second one.
I mean, I'm gonna get my dogs in there, but listen, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. That's how I feel about things. If you're going to spend your time and your money and your effort and your influence and your resources on something, then it's worth doing 100% the right way. And that's what we believe, and that's how we get up every day and go.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it leads me to kind of where I want to head next. One of the things I've been talking about a lot with folks is trying to understand and asking people, how do you value food, right? What does it mean to you? And it's a really kind of a tricky question to ask people, because I don't think they actually think about it that hard. And obviously the last however many years, you've got the conversation about organic and climate and health, and all these things move the food conversation forward in a lot of ways. But a lot of ways we don't, in my opinion, value food. We don't put we just kind of take food for granted in a lot of ways. And I think you saw that with the pandemic. I mean, case in point, I talk about this all the time. I mean, good Lord, how many people lost their minds when they couldn't find toilet paper, right? You would thought it was, that there was no electricity. We were never going to see water again. There was, alligators coming after us. It was craziness, and we have this feeling like it's always going to be in our pantry. And I challenge people. It's like, think about food insecurity a little bit. Go look in your kitchen right now at how much food you have, and imagine if you couldn't get any more. What would you do? How would you react? I mean, because we don't think that way. We've been expected in a lot of ways. Maybe we have an expectation, I guess, really, without understanding what it all takes to bring food to our tables, right? Most of us can't conceive of food insecurities in a lot, because whether it's personal or, external circumstances, whatever it is. So that big diatribe frame up thought process there throws this question I want to throw at you to kind of wind down our time hanging out. How would you explain to somebody how to value food? And I'm gonna throw a sidebar question too. And why do we need to be valuing our family farmers?
Yeah, well, I think the first question just takes me back to a story where we took some folks on a tour of our Vidalia onion facility and our farms, and they had no idea. They were of the mindset that food came from the grocery store, and spent a couple of days with them, showing them the operation, and they were just, I don't know, they were taken aback by it. They just could not believe it, everything that is behind just a simple sweet onion on the grocery store shelf. And you multiply that by infinity with all the other produce items in the world, and it is a machine operating in rhythm, in harmony to bring this to market. And I think that's how we value food, is we're in it every day. We live it. It's a passion of ours. It's who we are. And so we see the firsthand sacrifices. We see some things that may not be visible to other people. Not that that's a fault of theirs. They just, hey, they spend their day doing something else, right? That I'm not aware of. So I'm sure I don't fully appreciate what they may do, but we're just sitting here talking about food. And I think a lot of people, just to your point, it's available at the grocery store, and I think it has been taken for granted until the pandemic came along and they said, oh, wait, you mean there is a disruption in the supply? Well, why is that? And so, or there is a run on the produce department in the grocery stores, and this, that, and the other. So, to me, that, just having access to food, I think people are more aware of it now than they were before the pandemic, but I don't think it's certainly not anything we can take for granted.
Absolutely not. And the second part of that, thinking about the family farmer, why do we, why is that need? In my opinion, it needs to be an elevated conversation that the industry needs to start talking more about the farmers, and I mean this with all respect. And I'll use the word oranges just because it came to the top of my head. We need to spend less time talking about oranges in some ways and more time talking about the farmer behind the orange if we really want the orange to matter in the long game in some ways.
Yeah, that just reminds me of when you call up your customer and you have a discussion about pricing and they say, well, I don't want to talk about the market. Well, no, I'm not calling to talk about the market. I'm calling to talk about the reasons behind why the market moved, because I'm living these reasons and these reasons are impacting me in an adverse way. That's the conversation we want to have. I don't want to talk about the market. I want to talk about what the reasons are. So, I mean, to your point, the family farm, and this too, private equities traveling the country, man, they're gobbling up small to mid-sized farms and they're looking around, and I don't know so much in this environment, particularly over the last 3 years. Not a bad thing altogether, but I do think it is a threat to the family farm. And I don't know, the family farm is such an important part, not just of our food supply and our food chain, but also the communities in which they live, right? So we're
100%.
members of a community, members of our churches, members of the school board, members of the economic impact. And it's like I said earlier, when you help me, I can help you, help me, help you. And so when I'm financially empowered to go employ and to build infrastructure and to compete for resources, then we're financially empowering people on our team to go out and live and work in these communities. And I would say that's probably one of the most important aspects of the family farm is just that community link, that community involvement.
That's beautiful.
There are a lot of challenges to the family farm. I think having access to capital and, the price of land's going up, everything. It has nothing to do with inflation. Land's going up just because it's going up, but you can't grow a lot of these crops without access to land. So
you ain't gonna grow these onions downtown Atlanta.
No, that's true. That's true. That's a funny story. Yeah. So I met my wife at Georgia Southern years ago, and she's from the metro Atlanta area. And when we both graduated, she's a school teacher, by the way. She retires this May after 30 years of teaching public school.
Wow.
And praise the Lord, she is excited. She has mixed emotions. She loves teaching, but I think she's ready to do something different. But no, I told her that when we were getting out of college and talking about marriage and this, that, and the other. And we were, she wanted to live in it, go back to Atlanta, and I'm living in Southeast Georgia, about 3 hours away. And I said, look, you can teach school where I live. I can't grow Vidalia onions where you live.
That's exactly right.
So that's kind of, hey, praise the Lord for that one leg I had to stand on, because that kind of won the day. But
yeah, but she's got to be thinking now, like that was a hell of a good path to go down, especially with all the work that you all have been doing outside of just growing onions, because that's fueling her too. I know it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. She loves it. It was tough in the early years, not only for me, just trying to get the business started and all the stress and strain of that, but it was tough on her. I was coming home dealing with my own anxiety and stress issues.
Sure.
Of course, she's there as a sounding board, and probably shouldn't have been, but she was, and I probably shouldn't have brought it home. But she's been a rock for me, and but it was tough on her in a way that she didn't know about the farming lifestyle and about what goes into it, and about Memorial Day is coming up, and I'm like, hold on just a minute, we're right in the heart of our harvest season. There ain't no Memorial Day. We're working, and July 4th comes along, and we're packing and shipping Vidalia onions, and it's people who are not around that. I don't, like I said before, there's nothing wrong that they don't know. They just haven't been around it. They're not aware of it. But it was a shock to her system early on. She's obviously been around long enough. I think if something would have happened to me early in our marriage, she'd have probably packed up, went back north. But now she loves it, man. She is all in this small town community, and she's here. So
I love it.
We celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary last summer.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 26 coming up in July. We've been together 32 years. So
congratulations. That's fantastic. I got you beat by a few, but nonetheless, it's a journey.
It is. Oh boy, it's a journey, and it's hey, listen, in full transparency, it's a journey. Sometimes you're not sure you're going to make it, but praise the Lord, He got us through it, and we're going. So,
well, you know what they say: marriage is the number one cause of divorce.
no doubt. Hey, going back to that whole love thing, right?
Sure, that's what I'm talking about. About. So, what's next for you guys? Anything exciting coming up the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, we're just looking forward to getting in our Vidalia onion season. Right, it's right here upon us, and our Peruvian sweet onion season is coming up this summer. We're fully integrated, vertically integrated down in Peru as well, and that kind of helps us carry our 52-week sweet onion program. So, looking forward to those things. I think one of the most exciting things I'm looking forward to is what we alluded to earlier. Is just my son Luke is just a few months away from coming back and joining the business. I'm really excited. Been looking forward to that for a long time, dreaming about that day for a long time. So excited about that. And then hopefully a couple of years behind him, Jake will be on the way. So
I love it. Congratulations. What a thrill. What a thrill. Well, thank you very much for being here and hanging out with me today. I truly appreciate it. It was, like I said, it was an honor to have you, and I knew this was going to be a great conversation, and it was. And I appreciate just your openness, your honesty. I said it in the beginning, you wear your morals and values on your shirt sleeve for all to see, and I think that's powerful. And I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me.
Amen, brother. Thank you for the opportunity, Todd. We really enjoyed it. For sure.
Thank you very much. Everybody, thanks for being here today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like I tell you all the time, go inspire somebody. If John didn't get you a little bit fired up to look at the world in a little bit different light, give me a call. I'll send you a Mountain Dew or something. We'll get you a little spark going. But hopefully he's got you as inspired as he got me. So we appreciate you being here. Don't forget to check us out on social media, TLC_Todd-versations. Hey, John, you know why I'm on social media?
Why is that?
Well, that's where I get my Bulldog jokes from. And you know how,
here we go.
Do you know the fastest way to get a Bulldog football player off your front porch? Just paying for the pizza. Just paying for the pizza.
Hey, Todd, I got one thing before we go.
Go
Dogs.
I'll let you have it, baby.
Hey man, we're looking for a three-peat.
You might get it. Be really honest with you. You might get it. I cannot say that it's not a possibility that you can do it. Just beat Alabama. I don't really give a rip. Just beat Alabama. That's all I care about. I'll support you all day. Thanks everybody for being here. Much love. Take care of each other. Remember, go inspire somebody today. It's incredibly important. You can make a difference in somebody's life without even trying real hard. Take advantage of it. Thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.